won't have much time to talk. They'll put us on here in a minute and a half. Welcome everybody. I'll briefly introduce you and I'll say, this is a big game. We've got one game separates it. Should be a good one. Make some comments about it. You only have maybe 15 seconds and then we'll come into the game. So, and then whatever you thought you don't finish, we'll have to come back to before you tip it off. Hello again, everybody. Nate Frank, along with Wheaton College multi-sport legend and former assistant basketball coach Steve Tunn. We're coming to you on a dreary and wet January night here in Wheaton, Illinois. But inside the gym, we've got a red-hot matchup. We've got North Park coming in with an overall record of 10-2, sitting high atop the CCIW at a record of 3-0. Wheaton is also 10-2, but 2-1 in conference. Should be a good one tonight, Steve.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, this is a different North Park team. This isn't some of the teams they've had come here in the past. They're 10-2. They've made a lot of changes, one with the head coach, also with a lot of transfers, so it should be a real good game tonight.
It will indeed. Let's pause now for the national anthem, followed by the starting lineups.
Everyone, please rise for the playing of the national anthem. And now the starting lineups. First for the visitors from North Park, at guard, a 6-foot junior out of Chicago, number 1, Shamar Pumphrey. At guard, a 6'1" sophomore out of Richmond, Indiana, that's 5, Colden Van Landingham. At guard, a 6-foot senior out of Macon, number 11, Marquise Jackson. At guard, a 6'4" senior out of Bellwood, number 12, Jalen Boyd. And at forward, a 6'7" senior out of Bellwood, that's 34, Jordan Boyd. The Vikings are coached by Sean Smith, who's assisted by Edwin McGee and Mark Smith. And now, Wheaton College fans, on your feet, the starting lineup for your Wheaton College Thunder. At guard, a 6'3" senior out of Bowie, number 3, Eddie Scott. At guard, a 5'11" grad student out of Thunder Ridge, that's number 13, Tyson Cruikshank. At guard, a 6'5" senior out of Portage, number 22, Eli Considine.
There was a bench clearing.
At 4 to 6'7" grad student out of San Diego, number 23, T.J. Askew. And at guard, a 6'4" junior out of Columbus, number 24, Nick Chavello. Wheaton College is coached by Mike Schauer, who's assisted by J.P. John Panner and Mr. Zach Kwan.
So, Steve, this should be a good one. If you look at the CCIW standings, almost tipped upside down from what you would normally expect to see. Carthage and North Park, two teams who in recent years have been dwelling more towards the bottom of the table, both sitting high atop it at 3-0. Milliken and at 1-3, Augustana at 1-3, Carroll at 0-3, and Elmhurst, last year's national runner-up at 1-3. So surprising early results, and this is an important game with the topsy-turvy nature of the season starting to come together.
You know, it really is, and especially with North Park being 3-0 right off the bat. And like you said, a lot of the ones that have been up at the top, North Central, Elmhurst, Augustana being down that low right now. It is early, but a lot of things can change, but it is pretty significant this early in the season.
And now we're ready for the tip. It'll be Considine and Boyd to tip it off. Boyd controls, and North Park will bring it up in the game's first possession. North Park, in some ways, a lot of things have changed, but listening to scouting report from Wheaton assistant John Panner, a lot stays the same. They're going to look to either dump it in or attack and kick, as that shot by Boyd is missed, and out comes Wheaton on the rebound. Oh, and a nice look from Cruikshank. That bucket is going to count. Goaltending as Eddie Scott had put it off the window, so good start and transition for the Thunder. Great
cut to the basket by Eddie, too. They're going to be overplaying a lot of things tonight, so a lot of back doors should be open.
Yeah, there's going to be a good pace to this game, I think. This is a North Park team that likes to run offensively and also likes to get it and go, as that pass goes over the head of Boyd. Marquise Jackson kind of points at his jersey saying, hey, I missed you there. I think that was open, but the pass sailed overhead. And as you're seeing here now on dead ball situations after baskets, North Park is going to put a little pressure on. Wheaton's ability to handle that pressure is going to be a key to this game. Scott over to Askew. Askew looking, and now Considine has the top of key to Cruikshank. Reverses it back up top to Chavello. Now back to Tyson, crossing over as the shot clock goes down to 5. He's going to spin, comes up a little bit short, and North Park will look to get out on the run. That's Jalen Boyd, one of two of the Boyd brothers. He dumps it into his brother Jordan, and now back to Jackson. Jackson kicking cross court, down to the corner, and that attempt comes up short from Jalen Boyd. Oh, a very nice effort saving that ball, but saved right back in Eddie Scott's hands, and he's going to take it to the hole. Almost able to convert, but he's going to go to the line shoot too.
You know, they're going to put a lot of pressure on us tonight, and you have to keep attacking the basket. You just got to be careful that you don't just get out of control. But that was a good take by Eddie to the basket right there.
Yeah, I'm talking with the coaching staff before the game. This was a game where if they could play quick but play under control, there's going to be advantage. And you and I were talking before the game. One of the things we like about Tyson Cruikshank running the point, he tends to push and push aggressively, but rarely, if ever, does he seem out of control.
Never seems out of control. And the whole team's that way. A lot of versatile type guys that all can handle the ball, and they never look like they're, worrying about too much setting up their offense. They just kind of go at it, and they just keep attacking the whole night.
Now, it's been interesting. Wheaton graduated an awful lot of players. As Scott misses the first, he'll try the second here. Graduated an awful lot. I think, people from the outside looking in, as that one comes up short, would have thought this might have been a season where they were going to be rebuilding, but they brought in a number of transfers. They kept some pieces in place, and it feels like week after week they're starting to gel more and more on the offensive end. Oh, nice cut, nice drive to the basket by Shamar Pumphrey. Ties the game at 2 with 2 minutes gone by. We've got a stoppage at play, an official timeout. Not sure what that call was.
And you're right, they're going to keep attacking the basket. They want to finish at the rim. They want to get to the rim, finish at the rim, and keep attacking, and then that will open up the threes for them.
No question about it. This is a team that's averaging 85 points per game. Now, a little bit of that is skewed. They had a chance to play the high-paced Grinnell team early in the year, but they're going to score a lot. they're only a 39% three-point shooting team, and so a lot of their action takes place inside near the basket. As Askew looks to drive, puts the shoulder down, turns the corner, and he's going to go to the line. That looks like a matchup he could exploit. He's got a good first step, and against the bigger, maybe a little bit slower-footed Jordan Boyd, you're going to see him have those opportunities.
I tell you what, the Wheaton offense is so hard to guard just because all guys can shoot the three, they spread it out, and they all can attack the basket. So it's just a real difficult defensive matchup for another team.
And Askew converts the first. Wheaton now 1 of 3 from the foul line in the early going. Both teams, no substitutions yet. Imagine that'll start to come here in the pace of the game. Probably in the next couple of minutes. I think keeping bodies fresh is going to be a big key for both teams. So here's North Park back into their motion. Pumphrey dishes to Jalen Boyd. Boyd crosses over Askew pretty effectively. Oh, and then a beautiful spin move back to the middle.
Good take to the basket. Again, you got to make them kick it out if we can, but they're going to be tough controlling them going to the basket tonight.
This will be one of the more aggressively penetrating teams Wheaton's played all year. I've been impressed with Wheaton's team defense, but that ability to rotate and recover I think is going to be critical. Askew gives it into the corner to Considine. Considine gets to the middle. He looks to go back to his left hand. They're going to call it jump ball. That'll be Wheaton's on the alternating possession. Wheaton will inbound. It'll be Crookshank to trigger. And once again, a little bit of stop. I don't know if we're having an issue with the clock. The shot clock says 50 seconds. I'm not sure there was a time in history where there was a 50-second shot clock. I do remember the 45-second shot clock, which seems like ancient history.
I do remember the 45, and I do remember not having one, and we just took about a minute off at times.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good here. I love Wheaton's out-of-bounds plays under the basket. They have a lot of quick hitters, and they do a lot of good things, so we'll see what we get here.
Yeah, that one looked like they were trying to get Askew on the little curl jumper. Wasn't able to get it. He throws it away. Stolen by Van Landingham. He's going to look to go coast to coast. Oh, and I think Eddie Scott might have gotten away with a reach in. The ball's going to be out of bounds, and North Park will inbound. Here's the replay. You can judge for yourself. Definitely got some ball, but probably a little bit of flesh as well. So now to inbound, it's to Jordan Boyd. Up to Van Landingham. He goes right, pauses, kicks back to Jalen Boyd, who goes into his brother. Little pump fake, spin, misses, and Considine staying in it, grabs the rebound. So far, North Park's got to be pretty happy with the looks they're getting. We're going to get a travel. I don't know if that was or not, but it looked a little fishy.
It was close. I mean, they're putting a lot of pressure on us full court here, and we just got to do a good job of just getting into our offense and not panicking right away. And obviously, they just want to pound it. They're trying to go inside every time when they get down here on offense.
Yeah, and Wheaton now is going to go to the bench. We're going to see the first substitution of the day. That's going to be Micah Schneiders out of Yorkville Christian, transfer from Eastern Illinois. He'll be coming in here at the next dead ball, and Wheaton will start to keep some people fresh. Oh, nice play by Scott there as Marquise Jackson drove to his left. Looked like he was going to have a pretty easy left-handed layup, but he got his pocket picked clean before he could get to it. So here's Schneiders in now for Eddie Scott. Oh, almost a travel by Jalen Boyd. And then he lays it in, and he's fouled late in the play. Boy, I thought he might have lifted that pivot foot before he got into his move.
Yeah, it looked like it a little bit there. He was, it wasn't a bad move, but it looked like he did pick that foot up before he took off.
Yeah, and then you saw Considine a little bit timid at his challenge. That's one of those where I think you've got to make a decision sooner, whether you're going to challenge aggressively or just lay off. He got caught in no man's land in my eye. The free throw woes continue for both teams as that one sails out off mark a little bit to the left by Jalen Boyd. Both teams collectively shooting just 2 for 5 here in the early going. That one's nothing but net. And North Park will go to its bench for the first time. That's Adam Bola checking in. He's a senior out of New Trier High School. Chavello to inbound. Here's Schneiders. He'll bring it up against pressure from Marquise Jackson. The double team does a nice job of backing out of that. Now Wheaton's got a quick advantage. in the corner to Considine, who converts. Really nice job by Schneider's backing out of that double team and creating the situation of odd numbers.
Great job. Whenever you get that double team and you make that first pass out, you want to attack. You don't want to give them time to recover. That was a great job by Wheaton.
Then you've got to bury the shot, which Considine did, and now Wheaton is into their half-court defense. Van Landingham thought he had penetration, kicks it back out. Here's Jackson going left against Schneider's. That ball's long, and Cruikshank is going to look to push it in the open court. Oh, very nice give by Askew, and a really good job by Chabella to gather himself, fake, get to that left hand.
You're right, he didn't rush it. He took his time, did a spin on him, and took it to the basket.
And now we're moving at that pace we expected. Took North Park all about 3 seconds to counter as Marquise Jackson converts. That's going to be the challenge. You're pushing hard in transition. You get a quick transition bucket. You got to get back just as quickly. Now here's Cruikshank as Wheaton settles into its half-court offense. Askew penetrating. He is going to get called for the offensive foul. We'll take another look, but it looked like they may have gotten there in time.
Yeah, I think he got there in time. It looks like he was moving just a little bit, but he lowered that shoulder right into him, and then you're going to get that call.
That's about the only place you're going to get a charge these days. Yeah. You got to get there quick, and you got to be well outside of that semicircle underneath the basket. So that's just the first foul on Askew. Team's second, so the fouls have evened out. I imagine, based on the pace of this game, I imagine we're going to see a pretty high fouling game, and free throw shooting could be a factor.
It really could be. They're going to keep pressuring us full court the whole game. We have to do a good job, and they're going to keep taking it to the basket, so we got to be careful on our fouling.
Jackson brings it up, kicks it to Pumphrey. We've also had another substitution. Lance Nelson is checked in. He's a freshman out of Monona Grove, Wisconsin. As that shot sails long, and it's the freshman Nelson who gets it, kicks it, and Pumphrey converts to 3 to pull North Park within 2. 14 and a half minutes remaining here in the first half. Now here's Chabella, top of key, kicks it over to Andrew Williams. Williams to Cruikshank. A lot of contact. The refs are letting them play. Cruikshank does a good job kicking it out of the double team to Connor Braun, and Braun's shot sails just a little bit wide from downtown. Here comes North Park. Oh, and I think Marquise Jackson thought he was fouled. Steve, this may be a game we need the oxygen tank, not only for the players, but for ourselves with the pace of play so far.
I tell you what, they're going to get up and down the court, no matter make, miss, turnover. They want to push the ball and get it up the court as quick as they can. And if they see an opening, they're going to go to the hoop.
So North Park leading 10-9. I mistakenly said it was 9-7, but that last North Park 3 gave them the edge. So 10-9 the score. Back and forth action, fast-paced so far through the first 6 minutes of the game. Wheaton now patient in their offense. Cruikshank steps back, shoots, and again, just a little bit short off of it. And Andrew Williams fought to get a piece of the rebound, and I think he's going to do a good job as Wheaton retains possession. So good job by Williams, who's gotten a lot of those scrap plays.
You know, that's what Andrew does for you. He comes in and just makes tough plays for you.
And then, Steve, to your point, one of Wheaton's quick-hitting plays gets a back screen for Askew. He converts, and he'll go to the line for the three-point play.
You get back to Andrew. Andrew just does that. You watch him every game, and he just does all the little things that a coach loves. I mean, he gets the loose ball. He makes a big play on defense, help defense. He just does all the little things every game.
Well, and he's one of those guys, you talk about the cliche of nose for the ball. And really, to me, what that means is just doing everything you can to get as close to the basket when the shot goes up. And you tend to see good things happen if you'll commit to doing that every minute you're on the floor. North Park back at it. Pumphrey tried to cross over. Good Wheaton helped shut down that lane. And now North Park settles into some half-court action. Oh, good slip of the screen by Carl Polk, but he can't convert and travels as he does it. That slip screen is dangerous. Wheaton's going to be out hedging pretty aggressively, and they've got to maintain a little contact with that screener. It's going to open up that slip like we just saw from
You're
Polk.
right. We hedge a lot on those, so that they're looking for that slip screen. It's tough. You have to make sure you have that weak side help to come over because you're hedging so hard on that screen.
And now it'll be Andrew Williams bringing it up. North Park aggressively trying to keep it out of Cruikshank's hands on the inbound. Nice cut by Askew. Good look. Williams passes on the jumper, but spins back and finishes beautifully.
It's a great finish.
making the most of his minutes here in the early going, both on the offensive glass and in the paint offensively. Andrew Williams puts Wheaton up 13-10, and now he's out guarding the ball with Van Landingham. Van Landingham may have gotten away with an extra step. Certainly, I think Coach Schauer felt like it, but misses the shot, and on the rebound, North Park commits the foul.
I tell you what, both teams right now are playing really good on-ball defense. I mean, guys are getting in each other's face. Not a lot of help, but you know, until teams start making it consistently, you're just going to keep playing good man-to-man defense.
That last foul called on number 15, Carl Polk. That's his first, the team's fourth. And so with only 7 minutes gone by, North Park already creeping into foul trouble territory as a team. There's Considine waiting patiently, not much opening up, so he puts the ball on the floor, looks to penetrate to his left, pulls it back out to Cruikshank. Cruikshank on the pull-up, kind of DeMar DeRozan style. That one's been up short. He's been short on all 3 of his mid-range attempts. We'll see if we get a little range-finding adjustment from Cruikshank on his next one. This ball is into Jordan Boyd. He turns it over. Wheaton has their outlet pass deflected, but does a good job of getting back into it. Askew misses the layup. Thought he might have been fouled. And here comes North Park back. That's Jalen Boyd missing short. And here come the Thunder. Back and forth action in the early going. Cruikshank taking captaincy of the floor, getting people properly positioned. Oh, a very nice slip by Askew to set up a beautiful layup. And with that, North Park is going to talk it over.
Great cut by Askew right there. Wheaton runs that motion offense, and you know, you have options when you come off that screen. You can do a straight cut, you can curl it. If you think they're overplaying it like he was right there, you go back door. There's just so many options off it. And like I said earlier, I think we're going to get a lot of backdoor cuts tonight.
No, we definitely are. With the aggressiveness, both teams are playing out on the ball. And I think what's fun to watch, and you've played motion, you've coached motion, it's not something that's prescribed. It's a read and react kind of situation where not only do you, as the cutter, have to react, but the ball handler has to have a good sense of what his teammate is apt to do. It feels like Wheaton, with each passing week, is getting more and more comfortable with their cuts and more comfortable with each other.
And you're right. The guy who has the ball has to be ready to pass it. So when he makes that cut, you only have that split second to get that pass in there, and Wheaton does a good job of getting it there.
Now, very good stuff. So coming out of that timeout, Wheaton leads by 5. We got 11:41 left to play in the first half. What's been an entertaining, fast-paced, and I think pretty well-defended half by both teams so far. There's Boyd slipping once again, and Steve, you called it. That's kind of the soup du jour.
It's tough. I mean, and again, we hedge on screens, and it makes it tough on defense, but that is the way you can beat it with the slip screen.
Here's Eddie Scott looking to penetrate. He's cut off by Van Landingham, and he kicks it to Considine. Considine now to Cruikshank. Cruikshank guarded by Lance Nelson. He almost turns it away with Van Landingham's help, but he comes out of there with it. Chavella going to the rack. He has that shot altered by Jalen Boyd, and he outlets to Van Landingham. Van Landingham kicks it to Lance Nelson, and now into Jordan Boyd. Jordan has it poked away, or maybe just lost it. Couldn't tell if Cruikshank got a piece of that or not.
Yeah, I think he just lost it there. They're trying to go into Boyd a lot tonight. You know, he's losing the ball a couple times, and he just hasn't come through with the easy buckets. But I think they're going to probably just keep going into him, especially if they get a matchup like that again.
Yeah, it does seem like something that's very much been part of their game plan. I think it's been a part of their game plan all season. He's going to have to start taking better care of it and getting better finishes, or we may see them go away from it. Oh, Eddie Scott with a really nice spin move back to his right hand. He converts over Jalen Boyd to extend the Wheaton lead to 5.
Great. That's a great move to the basket, making that spin move. It's a tougher shot than you think.
No, it's not easy, and he had to go high off the window to get it out over the outstretched arm of Boyd. Really good work there. Now here's Lance Nelson kicking it to Van Landingham. Van Landingham guarded well by Chavella. Now goes left. Chavella stays with him and turns him away at the doorstep. Jordan Boyd, I think he walked on the putback attempt. So a nice job by Chavella. Looked like he might have been beat. Stayed with it and was able to alter the shot. Now here's Cruikshank. Like we said, pushing seemingly always at the right pace. Not too fast, not too slow, and kicks it over to Eddie Scott. Scott now up top to Chiavello. It's guarded by Jalen Boyd. And now over to Constantine. Oh, and another really good cut and probably a better finish.
Really, it was a great cut. He read, again, we're talking about the screens. He read it right. The pass was there on time, and it was a great finish.
You wonder how much of that is built into the scouting report with Coach Schauer and Coach Panner saying, hey, these guys are going to overplay, they're going to be aggressive. I wonder if they were spending a lot of time working on these curls and these slips. And we got a foul there as Jordan Boyd loses the ball. Another pretty good defensive series by Wheaton, but ended in a foul. Let's see what that one's going to be on. Wow. And boy, Eddie Scott got his clock a little bit clean at the end of that play.
I'm not sure about that one.
So that's one where you're holding your face and you're also raising your hand as the person who supposedly committed the foul, as that foul was Eddie's first. North Park inbounds it. That's Marquise Jackson up top. He swings it to Jalen Boyd. And now Jalen Boyd kicks it over to Preston Bax, the third. And now Pumphrey takes it. He's too hard off the glass, and Wheaton's going to have numbers if they hurry. Oh, I think it was a good decision by Chiavello to keep it himself. Couldn't finish, but running the floor right behind him is TJ Askew, and he'll get fouled on the putback attempt.
I agree with you. He never really committed to Chiavello, so I think it was a great take, taking it all the way to the basket. And great job by TJ just attacking the boards there and getting the second shot. Yeah,
that's a veteran play by Chiavello. It's easy to try to think, all right, I'm going to be unselfish here, as Askew misses the first. I'm going to be unselfish here, I'm going to pass it, but you've got to make that defender commit. And I think to your eye and mine, it never looked like the North Park defender was willing to commit. So Askew converts the second, and that'll push Wheaton's lead to 8, 20-12. 9 minutes left to play in the first. It's been entertaining so far. Here's Jalen. Sorry, that's Bax. And now Jackson, he gives it away. Good hustle. Second good hustle play in a row by Askew, and it sends Wheaton off into the break. Here's Schneiders with a good Euro step, but can't convert. And that ball's rebounded by Preston Bax. Pushes himself. Inside to Bulwa. Bulwa spins back a little bit awkwardly, and Wheaton will rebound.
I tell you what, Eli does such a good job. He has mismatches every game. He takes the bigger player from the opposing team, and he just does a great job inside. Bodies people up, puts his hand straight up, doesn't get called for a foul. And a lot of guys miss a lot of shots on Eli under the basket.
And it could be to your advantage as a smaller player in the post if you use your, and another good spin move by Jackson. And Askew's making a living on second chance points, puts that back. But Steve, to your point, I think oftentimes when you are defended in the paint by a smaller player who knows how to use his body well, not only to create contact, but to give contact so you don't know exactly where he is, that could be unnerving for the bigger player.
It really is. You almost want to go against a bigger guy, a slower guy, but when you get a quicker guy and a smarter guy, faster guy, and Eli can still body you up pretty good, it makes it tough on the other team's bigs.
Well, Steve, as a big guy myself, I always enjoyed playing against bigger players. I still have yet to find a slower opponent, though, so that was always a problem for me.
Nate, you had more quickness than you think.
So there's Williams to inbound. Cruikshank now, as Wheaton looks to extend this lead. Feels like a little bit of a tipping point here for North Park. This thing could get a little bit out of hand through the last third of the half, or they could reel it.
And you got to be careful here, too, because a lead's never too big against a team like this.
No, just as we say it, a bad giveaway there by the Thunder as Van Landingham steps in, gets that pass, pushes it, and he'll now go to the line. And Eddie Scott picks up his second foul in pretty short order.
Really, so far, we've done a pretty good job not fouling too much. They are going to the basket almost every play, so you don't really want to get them to the line that quick. There's only 7 minutes left in the half, but we don't want to get them to the line where they can get a lot of free throws to get back in the game here before halftime.
No, that's exactly right. And I think you got to give credit to the officiating crew as well. The fact that this game has been played so much going toward the rim and at such pace. if you have an officiating crew that's a little shaky, it could turn into a foul-a-thon. And I think they've done a pretty good job of only calling the stuff that's really impacted the play.
Yep.
So converting both foul shots to cut the lead to 22-14. Cruikshank finds a seam. Oh, and falling down, he gives it away. That ball is taken by Van Landingham, and he pushes on a good job by Williams jumping out in the passing lane, almost creating the turnover. And we'll see a Wheaton sub as Connor Braun checks back in to give Considine a well-earned breather.
No, it's been a good job by Wheaton, too, getting back. They've had quite a few fast breaks that we haven't given up an easy layup. We've made it tough on them.
Yeah, very little have they gotten just simply attacking the rim with nothing in between. We've either altered the shot or created enough traffic for them to think twice about it. Williams almost takes it away, and now Wheaton's in a little bit of scramble mode. Van Landingham with a high arcing shot from downtown, and just like that, the lead has been cut to 5.
That's a tough shot right there, too. I mean, they had the ball reversal. We were scrambling a little bit, but Andrew did a good job of getting a hand in his face, and that was a tough shot.
No, he sure did, and you said it. There was a 10-point lead less than a minute ago, and now it's 5. These leads are tenuous, and you can't slip up. We had a couple of bad turnovers right in a row, and North Park took advantage. There's Askew from downtown. That shot just a little bit off the mark. Wheaton's going to knock it out of bounds. I don't think there was a foul called. Wheaton knocks it out of bounds as both Cruikshank and Chiavello crashed. So now Wheaton, probably one of the more important defensive series of the game for them. They're on the brink of letting North Park climb right back into this thing and I think regain momentum. Oh, pretty good defense by Braun as he was crossed over by Bulwa, but stayed in front of him, altered that shot. Let's take another look at it. Really good job of moving laterally, and may have caught a little bit of the hand. That's probably the first ticky-tacky one we've seen.
That's tough right there because he went straight up, didn't go into him, didn't bring his hand down on the shot. It's pretty good defense.
Bulwa misses the first, and he'll shoot the second with a chance to cut the lead to 4. If you're sitting around at home, I think as you see the crowd, there's a few good seats still available. If you feel like braving the elements, I think we're in for the second half here. Bull converts and cuts the Thunder lead to 4, 22-18. For as fast a pace a game this is, certainly not been a high-scoring affair so far.
You're right. A lot of action. Not a lot of scoring right now, but a lot of action.
And that's a little bit what we talked about. You get a game that moves at pace. If you're not careful, it can get sloppy and you can turn it over. You can take bad shots. I think over the last 2 or 3 minutes, Wheaton would have liked to have been a little more tighter. Chiavello, I think, moved his pivot foot on what was going to be a really nice move back to the left hand, but got a little slip sliding away down in the low block area there.
Yeah, I think that was a good call on that one. He was taking his time trying to set him up, but he did move that pivot foot.
Little slippery here. It's been a foggy couple of days. I don't think there's much condensation on the floor, but we'll chalk up that travel to some potential. Oh, another slip screen. That ball got deflected and then deflected back off of Bulwa, out of bounds. So the slip screen continues to be the preferred move. And now you'll see North Park again really trying to keep it out of Cruikshank's hands and force somebody else to bring it up court. In this case, it proved successful. Williams will cross the timeline. So here's the Thunder running half-court offense. Been a couple of possessions since they've gotten quality out of the half-court. Some turnovers, including that last travel by Chiavello. They could use a good possession here. And a nice job by Williams holding on to it, spinning back and converting. He just makes things happen.
I tell you what, it looked like he was in a lot of trouble there, almost got it stolen, but he stayed under control and made a great move to the basket.
We get a little bit across the looked like contact as Boyd and Williams ran into each other. Looks like we got an illegal screen there. As did Boyd stick his knee out? Is that what you saw? Yep.
Yeah, I think he stuck it out just a little bit.
Sorry,
yeah, I think he stuck it out just a little bit there.
So tantalizing when
that's a tough one.
When a knee, just a knee protruding.
And there's so many screens in a game, so it's tough. But you always seems like you always get one called against you. Yep. And as a coach, you always think it's the wrong time.
Yeah, it's always the wrong time. thwarts a little bit of North Park's momentum, and now Wheaton leading by 6, looking to extend as we've gone under 5 minutes here in the half. Cruikshank gets into the paint. Oh, and Bolwood challenged. I don't know. That looked a little bit late and a little bit too aggressive on the contact, but nonetheless it goes on uncalled, and North Park settles into their offensive end of the floor. Van Landingham dumps it into the corner to Boyd. There's Marquise Jackson spinning back to the right. Bull has been active as he gets a piece of that. So he's come on, hasn't played the tightest game. Oh, there's the first bad transition turnover as Cruikshank tried to go cross court and deep. But that mistake is cleaned up by Askew, and out come the Thunder again. Considine will take it, and he is fouled to get a good job of keeping the pressure on in transition as Van Landingham picks up the foul, and Eli will shoot 2.
TJ, that was a fantastic block. I mean, him getting up on that shot right there. Here, you're going to see it right now.
With authority.
Great defense, and we get out on the break here. I'll tell you what, they've attacked the rim quite a bit tonight, and I think most of the times they really haven't gotten much out of it.
No, that's exactly right. It'll be interesting when we see the stats. First of all, shooting percentages. Second of all, points in the paint. I feel like Wheaton's done a relatively good job on the defensive glass. Not a lot of second chances for North Park, and frankly, very few that have been converted. So all in all, Wheaton's doing the right things defensively, and if they can finish this half strong and keep North Park in the mid-20s, they're going to feel very good about the defensive effort.
Yeah, I think this is huge. The last 3:50 of the first half here, like you said, if we can keep North Park down right now, don't let them get on a run, and extend that lead, will be great going into halftime.
It will indeed. That was Jalen Boyd missing long on the corner 3. Really good job again of boxing out by Wheaton on the defensive glass. And they're back into their offense. Oh, good slip cut by Considine, but Askew didn't see it in time. He'll reverse to Chiavello. Chiavello to Cruikshank. North Park paying a lot of attention to Cruikshank, but there is a mismatch here as Jordan Boyd is stuck on him. Oh, and a good job of defense by Van Landingham. And a very smart foul by Cruikshank. Van Landingham has been active. I think that's his 3rd or 4th steal. We'll check the stats at halftime. But Cruikshank did all he could do there because that was either going to be a bucket for Van Landingham or perhaps a putback flush for Jordan Boyd.
Actually, it's great sending him to the line. But, yeah, North Park's half-court defense, they're switching on almost anything, and they're versatile enough where they can get, their 6'7" guy can guard Tyson.
Yeah.
So, it really gives them the advantage, and you just don't know when they're going to trap, and they're always going for the ball. So you just got to be on high alert the whole time in your offense.
North Park's free throw woes continue. So they're only able to convert 1 of 2, Van Landingham there. They're a 65% foul shooting team, so by today's standards, not terrible, but not what you'd like if you plan on contending down the stretch. Oh, another really good cut by Schneider. Really good pass. He converts, and he'll go to the line for a critical 3-point play.
Yeah, that was a great cut right there, going back door again, and a great finish by Schneider at the basket.
Yeah, and to your earlier point, I think we're now seeing enough really crisp back cuts by the Wheaton cutters that the passers are looking for. That came open in an instant and closed in an instant, but that was just enough time for Wheaton to feed the ball.
And you have to let your offense keep working. You can't, when you get a lot of pressure sometimes, you just stop running your offense, or you want to take them to the hoop, or you feel pressure that I got to do something. You have to let your offense keep working and getting that backdoor cut.
Right, and it wears down the defense. I mean, it's like constant sandpaper. And between that and the full court pressing game that North Park is trying to play, if you can make them work either in transition and or in the half-court offense, that will it's like the running game in football. That'll start paying dividends as you get later and later into the ballgame.
And you're exactly right on that. They want to score. They want to get the easy layups on the fast break. They want to get the drives to the basket. The more you can eliminate those easy shots and, like you said, make them work it in the half court. That's not what they want to do. They want to get the easy ones on you. So Wheaton's doing a great job this first half.
No, very good. And on that note, Preston Bax will go to the line shooting 2 foul shots. Converts the first. According to the stats, that is his first free throw attempt of the season. So he may be a guy who's getting more and more into the rotation or may have had some injury issues early on. This is only his 8th game, but across this previous 7, he's averaging 17 minutes a game. He goes 1 for 2 there.
Now he's 50%. So.
Yeah, that's always rough. Early in the year, the makes are huge, but the misses kill you. Schneider's penetrating. He's very aggressive. Oh, and a really nice job by Askew. I've loved the work he's done on the glass.
Yeah, as all the Wheaton guys have gone after the glass. Against this team, you have to get some second chance shots.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of playing against a rotating team. When the shot goes up, there's almost by definition confusion on who's boxing out who. If you're aggressive on the offensive glass, you're going to get some chances. There's Van Landingham across to Jalen Boyd. Into the other Boyd. Jordan looking to spin on Considine. And that's probably the best move we've seen him make.
That's the best one. He had a little drop step there. He had him on his hip, and he took him right to the basket.
Good job by Considine not fouling. You're stuck there in a disadvantageous position. You got 2 minutes left in the half. You've only committed 1 foul. You're a guy who, because you're playing there, has struggled with foul trouble. Very smart not to pick up a second. There's Askew. Oh, a really nice feed. And there he is again, our man on the spot, Andrew Williams, who saw the attention getting drawn to Askew, cut baseline, and was the recipient of a beautiful pass and an easy finish.
Great feed by TJ, but it's a great finish by Andrew also.
I said easy finish. That's easier said than done. He had to turn back to the basket, fight off contact, and power through. So really good job by him. Anything but easy. He made it look easy. Here's Shamar Pumphrey spinning back to his right. He'll pull. And probably a little bit of an ill-advised shot for my money, but he drains from 15 feet.
A little bit, but he's a tough. He's put up a couple jumpers today, and we just don't want him to get hot on us.
Pumphrey, one of 4 North Park Vikings, averaging double figures to go along with Jalen Boyd, Marquise Jackson, and Colton Van Landingham. So really good balance out of this starting 5 for North Park as Considine drives into the paint, has his pocket momentarily picked by Jordan Boyd. And now as the shot clock winds down, good call there on the block. And Chavella will go to the line. I think that's going to be double bonus. He'll shoot 2.
Yeah, I think that was a good call. He was moving underneath him a little bit and sliding. He wasn't quite set. So I think it was a good call. So
let's see, that'll be the second on Van Landingham. So North Park, as the fouls pile up, starting to get a couple key people in trouble. And, you know, as we talked about their great balance of their top 4 or 5, as you get past that starting 5, the production falls off dramatically. So they need to be careful not to get into significant foul trouble here as we get to the end of the half.
Yeah, they do, and they're not going to change their style of play, so they're going to keep the pressure on and keep, you know, hopefully we can keep handling. The more you make them play defense, the more they're going to foul. If you let them get quick steals and stuff like that, then they'll get away with it, but you got to make them play defense.
So Chavello unable to convert the second. Wheaton leads 32-24 as we approach 30 seconds remaining in the first half. A 13-14 second differential. Oh, good crossover by Van Landingham. Really good help. I think we're going to get goaltending. I don't know if it's going to matter. Let's take another look.
I think it was going in no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who hit it on the goaltending. Tough to tell if TJ hit it or if their guy hit it.
It was interesting. You had Preston Bax and TJ both crashing. I think that ball was probably going in, but it almost looked like Bax running into Askew pushed Askew's hand into it. So you can either credit him with the goaltender or the tip-in.
Right.
But either way, the lead is cut to 6. Wheaton's going to play for a last shot as the shot clock's off, and the game clock ticks down to about 17 seconds. Let's see what they run. We're going to have a flat screen, I think. Chavello, Cruikshank doing a lot of dribbling, and now they're going to be down to a little bit of a time challenge. Oh, and that was a good block. Jordan Boyd came over. They're going to get a shot. Oh! And Pumphrey just sails that 3 long at the buzzer.
I tell you, we were right on line with that one. That one looked good. But just to get the ball up the court that quick and get a shot off was pretty impressive.
No, so we end a wonderfully exciting, fast-paced first half of play here at King Arena. The Wheaton Thunder leading 32-26. Stick around. We'll be back here in about 15 minutes with second half action. But for now, we'll send it back to the studio, and Steve and I will take a breather.
think one of the fun things about deciding where to go to college is that all of your peers are in kind of the same place. Remember, other people have done this, other people have gone before me and will come after me and are going through it with me now, but it's not as isolating as it may feel. I didn't really know what I was looking for at first. It started with me just scrolling through website after website of colleges. I knew I wanted something that was medium-sized. I knew that I wanted a strong natural sciences department. I knew that I wanted to be challenged academically inside the classroom, but I also didn't want life to stop in the classroom. I'm grateful that I was able to visit as many schools as I did. A large part of my decision to attend Wheaton was influenced by my campus visit. What instantly stood out to me was that everyone on campus was smiling. I felt welcomed, I felt appreciated, seen, and wanted. And so the application process itself was really joy-filled. The decision process was quite a different story. I got the decisions and acceptance and rejections back, and rejections stung. I became very stressed. I started to question, do I want to keep going to school? Do I want to go far? Do I want to come closer to home? And that's where I really started to ask, okay, what are the options remaining before me? And Wheaton was again at the top. I started to work with Ellen, my admissions counselor. I just worked with her really closely and had several hour-long phone calls just talking through what does a Wheaton education look like, what is the value of a Wheaton education, and got to have personal conversations and interactions. So even during a time that was really stressful, I felt valued and seen as a whole person rather than just a GPA and test scores.
Neuroscience is the study of probably the most unique organ on the planet, the human brain. What does it mean to be a human person? And then what does it mean to live the good life as a result of understanding that? Where a vast majority of the work is right now is helping cure neurodegenerative disease. Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and our National Institute of Health has been pouring money into trying to understand these diseases. There is a lot of hope for discovery that can really impact somebody's life. It's very easy for an undergraduate student to get involved in research. One of my more recent grads is working with one of the top spinal surgeons in the country, and because of his experience doing research here, he was able to just work his way right into that lab. A majority of my students go on to med school, but I had a physics student who is working for Tesla. We've had philosophy students, and we've had folks from the Bible and theology department come in and really press us hard to be precise about how we're talking about what it means to be a human person. A student in our conservatory here took one of my classes and did a project on the neuroscience of music therapy, and this whole world was opened up. She had a passion for both music and science, and she was able to combine them in a way that she just hadn't seen possible before being here. Any student that is just curious about themselves and the way that they work is going to be really well positioned to study the brain. Faith and science can coexist really well. The unique thing about coming to Wheaton to study neuroscience is the integrative nature of it. You are going to learn about how your brain works and how the cells work and how the neural circuits work, but we won't stop there. We will also teach you about your spirit and your soul and how that might interact with your brain to make you who you are. And so I hope that we're putting students out into the world that can answer the big neuroscientific questions, but then can also challenge their colleagues and their audiences to think deeper and to think more carefully about what it means to be a human person.
When you're looking at colleges, you may look at the sticker price and say to yourself, I'm not applying to that school because I can't afford it. And I would caution you to not close any doors because there is this price tag that is just out of reach. Cost is an important factor, but there's so many other factors to consider. At Wheaton College, we offer academic scholarships as well as Wheaton Grant, which is need-based aid from the college. So a student may receive scholarships in the range of $10,000 to full tuition. They may also receive significant Wheaton grants on need, and we determine that, like most institutions do, based on the information that is found on the free application for federal student aid. Colleges aren't commodities. They're not all the same. And there'll be value questions that you have to ask along the way. There's value in knowing that Wheaton alumni have done very well across the board. That we have students from 50 states and over 160-year history. There's value in that. But I also think there's value in the fact that you will be with a group of peers who are excellent in their academic endeavors, but also who love Jesus Christ. You are not just a student who is performing well in the classroom, but that you are a person that has great potential to serve God's kingdom. You're going to be challenged to grow in your faith because you want to be tested and you want to understand what your theological non-negotiables are. So think about the community you're going to be a part of and how they're going to engage you. We want to challenge you to think about why you believe what you believe by people who will encourage you and motivate you. This is an investment that has strong return, not just for you in terms of career, but for you as a follower of Jesus Christ who will be called to good things. Let us work closely with your family. Let us find out more. We work with great expectation and with hope. We do not want to give up on your calling to be at Wheaton College.
Wheaton College Summer Institute is basically this 2-week event in which students from all over the world can participate. It does a very good job of integrating education, social life, and spiritual life into a very safe environment.
There's so many course offerings, from Shakespeare to music to visual arts to theology.
Each student picks a class and they really hone in on a specific subject.
And we're kind of getting like a foretaste of the college experience.
So we're sleeping in the dorms and we eat in saga. It's the full experience, but only for a 2-week period.
And they give college credit. Like, when looking at whether or not to do this, I was like, there's no downside.
You know, the schedule is incredible.
I've spent a lot of time in class, probably about 4 hours a day, but also a lot of time hanging out.
Then we're going for ice cream and we're going into Wheaton.
You enjoy it, you have fun, you get to meet new people.
And what I like about it a lot is that the people are so accepting. The people that will just take you as you are and won't criticize you or judge you.
And the relationships I've built with people here have been really valuable.
Here, I'm always with someone, I'm always talking, I'm always having a great time, I'm always learning.
And at the same time, building that community with these people who are so different. With people from Colombia and Mexico and Texas and North Carolina. But we can all, find that kind of center of what we all believe and build relationships from that.
Wheaton College Summer Institute is a place where you will grow in your faith, meet very extraordinary people, and learn something you're passionate about.
It has the potential to be so formative that there's no way you shouldn't do it.
Someone who is insatiably curious will thrive in a Christian liberal arts environment. Being a Christian liberal arts student causes you to expect to encounter God and expect to encounter dialogue with other disciplines. I think it creates a posture of wonder, and that's just a great thing for every aspect of life. I was in Calc 1, and my professor was having us read through Romans 12 in Calc 1. And it really invited me to see God at work and to prepare my heart, even in those first few minutes of class, to recognize and say, God is here, and do I have eyes to see him? And do I have eyes to see the way that he's at work? They don't say that any discipline is off limits from God, or that God is off limits from any discipline. Wheaton really does prime you to be a very well-rounded student that's able to think about questions from many different angles and not just provide a cookie-cutter answer, but really engage with content in a deep and meaningful and intentional way. I got one-on-one time with professors, and they not only cared about my studies, but they also cared about my spiritual well-being and about how I was doing personally. The opportunity to have professors that are spiritual mentors and have PhDs in Old Testament or quantum mechanics or poverty and international relations is amazing. And you get the opportunity to interact with so many other students of different disciplines that all love Jesus and want to love and worship him in what they do. And that's amazing too. And I love Wheaton. Wheaton invited me to dig deep into both the scientific learning I was doing and dig deep into my faith. I have grown in my ability to offer all of myself to the practice that I'm doing as an act of worship. That's what the Christian liberal arts can help form in you, is to do everything to the glory of God.
And welcome back to King Arena as we get ready for the second half. Wheaton College, your very own Thunder, leading 32-26 over an aggressive, fast-paced, hard-charging North Park Viking team. Steve, you've had a little chance to do some stat sheet dissection. What jumps out at you from that first half?
You know, there's a couple things that jump out at you. First thing is Tyson has 0 points. And if you would have told me that we're going to be up 6 at half with Tyson getting 0 points, I wouldn't have believed you. But Tyson is also the type of player where I don't think it really affects him that much. Tyson can come out the second half and go for 16 in the second half. So they're playing good D on Tyson, but the other guys are picking it up. TJ has 9 points. The other thing I talked to Coach Schauer before the game was the turnover. They're forcing 20 turnovers a game, and it looks like we have 8 right now. But even though we have a little higher turnovers, they're not scoring that much off turnovers. They're not getting easy buckets. So even though we've turned the ball over a few more times than usual, we have not given up the easy baskets, and that's why we're keeping them to 26 points.
Well, and you said it as we get ready to start the half here, North Park will inbound. You said it. You know, as much as North Park has been trying to get into the paint and getting in the paint, they haven't been scoring in the paint. Only 12 points in the paint for the Vikings. Wheaton, on the other hand, who's been very aggressive both in penetrating as well as cutting, as Van Landingham goes in, misses that one, gets his own rebound, and he'll get fouled, and the three-point play. The point I was going to make, though, is as we've been aggressive, back cutting, slipping, and attacking the rim, we're outscoring them in the paint 22-12. Now this is going to probably be a point in the paint for Van Landingham, a couple there and a foul shot. But if we can keep up that ratio, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a key, especially the first 10 minutes, not giving them the easy baskets in the paint.
Van Landingham misses. North Park's free throw shooting woes continue. They were only 60% in the first half. 0 for 1 here to start the second half. Considine kicks it to Askew, near side, back up top to Cruikshank. Cruikshank going to his right, and he's not forcing. He's done a good job, even as he's been shut out in the scorebook, not forcing a whole lot. Considine almost has that pass stolen, gets it back, comes up short on the layup. Jordan Boyd rebounds out to Van Landingham. He's pushing aggressively. He's going to try to get to the hole, Not sure I saw the foul there. We'll have to take another look at it. But Van Landingham's going to go back to the foul line as he goes coast to coast.
Yeah, and that's what we did a good job in the first half, not fouling going to the basket. And right now we got 2 fouls on us already.
They're going to call that one on Tyson. That's his first, team's second. Van Landingham back to the line, good on the first. So not the start Wheaton was hoping for. Van Landingham 3 quick points to cut the lead to 3, and now a fourth to cut it to 2, 32-30. So a minute in, North Park finds themselves 1 possession out of this game. Eddie Scott bringing it up.
And you're right, just the way they play, and a lead is never too big against these guys.
Oh, what a nice cut. Almost looked like a set play there as Eddie Scott brought it in, kicked a Cruikshank, and from the weak side corner, Considine cut hard to the basket. Really did a good job of collecting himself. And the time it took him to collect himself, the defense helped, and that's how the foul was committed. Or I think he'd had an easy layup. Another great cut by Considine. Oh, and unfortunate. Stays with it. Eddie Scott almost has the rebound. Now Pumphrey out with it to Van Landingham. He's short on the 3. Marquise Jackson keeps it alive, and then Jordan Boyd finishes. We're tied at 32.
Yeah, that was a tough one down here, missing the layup and then giving the fast break. They had the second chance point down there, getting the tip in on us.
Wheaton's gotten a little sloppy as that one's almost stolen on the Eddie Scott pass. Oh, and Askew takes it and gets the roll that time. And I think a good timeout here by Coach Schauer. I
think it is too. It's like we said at halftime. A 6-point lead means nothing in this game. I mean, it could be erased in about 30 seconds. So I think it's a good time just to kind of regroup here a little bit early in the second half and just get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, everything that could, not that it's been a disaster through these first minute 40 seconds, but kind of anything that could go wrong. You've gotten a couple second chance opportunities for North Park. You've had, you had Considine cut baseline, make a really good fake, and then get fouled. Makes a good cut on the inbounds pass, gasses the layup, turnover here, turnover there. Really good to kind of settle the team and I think get them focused. What's your message to the team right here if you're Mike Schauer?
Right now you're just saying, hey, don't give up the easy one. Play good defense here. We kind of let them dictate the pace here for 2 minutes. Let's get it into our pace. Let's get under control. Not that we're out of control, but you don't want to let them go on a 10-0 run or something like that because they are capable of doing it.
So far the Vikings doing a really good job of executing their game plan defensively. And you got to think points 1, 2, and 3 of that game plan. Keep the ball out of Cruikshank's hands. Let some other people hurt us. And so far they've been as good as you could be on that. Here's Marquise Jackson triggering the offense over to Van Landingham. Van Landingham going left on Chiavello. And he has done a really good job of getting into the paint as he'll draw the foul on Chiavello and go back to the foul line. It feels like he's spent the better part of the second half on the stripe.
I tell you what, he's a tough guard because he can shoot it from long range, and he just takes his time and makes a tough, strong move to the basket every time he gets it.
Does indeed, and misses the first in a similar fashion. How he missed his first free throw of the half, kind of rolling off the right front of the rim. He's a good foul shooter. He's a 78% foul shooter, so this is a little bit abnormal for him. And to your point, he's a 41% three-point shooter, so a very dangerous weapon in every phase of the offensive game. Misses both of them, though, so Wheaton gets a break. An important chance to extend as Cruikshank brings it in. He's going to get a high screen from Considine, dribbling right into the corner. Chiavello back to Cruikshank. He's looking to pull, and up short again, which has kind of been the theme of his night. Second chance opportunity, though, but unfortunately the ball gets thrown away, and North Park will bring it back down.
And you know, North Park's able to switch on almost every high ball screen, so it really doesn't hurt them. And usually Tyson gets in a great matchup, but against this guys, against North Park, he doesn't get that great matchup that he usually gets.
No, between that and the focus they've got on him from the help side, very difficult, and a good job by him of being pretty patient. Considine goes for the steal. Jordan Boyd corrals and manages to finish over Askew. We're back tied again. 2.5 minutes gone by in the second. Eddie Jackson dealing between his legs, looks to go, gets cut off. And now Eli Considine on the near side wing. Over to Askew, far side. Good look from downtown. He's long, but a nice job by Eddie Scott of getting inside, getting the rebound, and fouled as he pulls it down. They're going to call that before the shot, so we don't have a chance to inbound.
That's a great look by TJ. He's got to keep shooting that one. It's going to knock down for him. But you got to spread these guys out a little bit and keep the lane open.
No, absolutely. TJ's a north of 40% three-point shooter. That was a situation where North Park lost him. He's going to hit that more often than not. He's going to try the painted area this time. Goes back to the right hand. Hook comes up a little bit short. And Jordan Boyd continuing to do good work on the glass, pulls that one out. North Park coming down. That's Marquise Jackson scoring. And for the first time tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, North Park takes the lead 36-34. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, there have been a few early lead changes. For the first time in a while, North Park takes the lead. Eddie Scott in and out, and the Wheaton shooters have pulled, and North Park continues to counter. That's Van Landingham off the front of the rim. Jordan Boyd in there with Van Landingham. He pulls it out. Did he get away with a travel? He may have, but he's going to go to the foul line, and I think that's going to be on Connor Braun. At least he's hoping to take credit for that foul.
You know, they're doing a good job crashing the boards right now and getting that second chance shot. And now I think we got 4 fouls already, so we're a little bit of foul trouble early in the second half.
Interesting, though, it's that previous foul down at the Wheaton offensive end, and that was on Braun, that last Wheaton foul, was on Van Landingham. His third. That's going to be the one potential fly in the ointment to this constant switching defense as Jordan Boyd misses his first. They're going to have to get Van Landingham out because they can't afford to have him in a bad matchup, and he's going to take a seat.
And there he goes right now, yeah.
So Lance Nelson, the freshman, comes in. They're not going to keep Van Landingham out for long, Steve. What do you think? Probably should they get this down to 12 minutes without him?
Yeah, if they can get him out for 3 or 4 minutes here and then get him back in the game with 3 fouls, they should be in good shape.
And North Park continues the good hustle. It looked like Jordan Boyd had fired that off with Chiavello, but he'd stepped on the line, and so Wheaton will get the basketball. Chiavello to trigger. Into Braun, now back to Chiavello. A little bit of a reach around. That's going to be a foul on Jalen Boyd. And the foul's starting to even out here. That's going to be the third on North Park.
Just with the energy of this game and just the defensive pressure, I think there's going to be quite a few fouls here. Both teams will probably be in the bonus for a good part of the second half.
I would agree, and that's just the first on Jalen Boyd, so no foul trouble for him, a key part of this North Park attack. There's Andrew Williams, continue to deal probably a little bit of a force there.
Yeah, a little bit. He's converted a couple of those in the first half, so you can see why he took it to the basket, but it was a tough shot.
That's one of those where you get into the paint and you spin back. It's a good look. He got stopped about 3-4 feet outside the paint. I don't think he had a real good awareness of where he was. Nonetheless, he can continue to be aggressive. Pumphrey now has it up top. He's going to get a high screen from Boyd. Crosses over at the three-point line. Looks like he's going to want to shoot this, and he's going to convert it. A nice little touch off in front of the rim.
That's a tough shot. I mean, Tyson played great D on him right there, shooting a fadeaway from 15 feet. It's a really tough shot that he made.
Jackson kicks it out in the corner to Chiavello. Wheaton could really use a three-pointer to fall.
Yeah, I think that's, 3 in a row now. We haven't hit, and they've been open threes, not even contested.
They've been quality
so,
looks.
Yeah.
You almost wonder sometimes the super uncontested three, in my mind, as a very poor three-point shooter, tougher than the one that's gently contested in some ways.
And especially when you haven't made a couple, then you're wide open. You almost want it to be a little bit contested.
Yeah, it's almost like, how could I possibly miss this? Sort of the same way you feel standing over a 3-foot putt with the match on the line.
Absolutely.
Not that you've ever gassed any of those putts. So a little bit of clock confusion now. North Park will inbound. We're 1/4 of the way through the second half of action. 14 minutes, 50 seconds left to play. North Park by 4. Another pull-up by Pumphrey, and he likes that shot. That's the 3rd or 4th bucket he's made, getting into the paint and either stepping back or fading away. Wheaton now trailing by 6. They need a good look here. Williams with the fake. Really good job of getting Bulwa in the air, and that's exactly what they needed.
They really did. You know, you have to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit there, but you have to keep attacking. You can't stop attacking when you're getting pressed. So it's a good job by Andrew getting in there and getting fouled.
Got to continue to attack, and you got to continue to work for those open threes. At a certain point, they're either going to fall or you're going to say it's not your night. But you can't give up on what's working offensively just because the particular shot's not falling. Checking into the game for the Vikings is Carl Polk. He replaces Jordan Boyd. So you got Bull and Polk up front for North Park as Williams converts both. Those were big points. Just the third and fourth points of the half for the Thunder.
2 big free throws.
Pumphrey likes that spot and finally misses one from about 16 feet away on the fadeaway. There was going to be nothing stopping him from taking that shot.
I tell you what, Pumphrey's really kind of picked up his game here the second half, so it's good to see him miss one there.
Andrew Williams with the fake, gets Polk in the air, steps through, avoids the travel, and finishes with a nice touch on the other side. Oh, and there's a good block by Chiavello, but it ends up in Polk's hands. Unfortunately, he misses the tip try, but he'll go to the line and he'll shoot 2.
I tell you what, we're going to have to really concentrate here the second half of just keeping them off the glass, because they're going to get, you know, they're crashing the boards, they're getting second chance points. So you really have to just really concentrate. Every time the shot goes up, get a body on somebody. Let's not give them a second chance.
No, that's exactly right. Polk misses the first. That was his 25th attempt of the year. He's 16 of 25 on the year now, 17 for 26, shooting just a little bit under, I should say, 67%. Williams crosses over Pumphrey, but slows it up. Now to Considine. He's guarded by Nelson. Cruikshank probably had his first mismatch of the day, but they quickly switched it back. Considine in, not much there. Out to Schneiders. Schneider's looking to do work against Pumphrey. Getting in, oh, and a really wonderful job by Bulwa coming over to alter the shot. Even better job by Chiavello to finish, and that is a big three-point play.
You are
potential.
absolutely right. North Park played great defense there. They double-teamed the post. They kicked it out, made it tough on the shot, and a great job by Nick attacking the basket and getting that tip in.
Well, and we've said it several times tonight, the best offensive glass opportunities you're going to have is when the defense has to rotate and there's confusion of who's got who on the box out. Chiavello took advantage and really foiled a great defensive effort by the Vikings.
And this is a game, as a coach, you got to tell your guys, you just can't watch. You've got to stay active all the time because something's going to happen.
Yeah, a lot of lunch pail and hard hat points in this game, whether it's second chance, whether it's diving in the lane, whether it's getting out on the break and cleaning something up. A lot of opportunities if you stay in the play. And after converting and tying this game up, Chiavello will take a well-earned breather. So we're tied at 41, 13-35. Wheaton's lineup is Cruikshank, Askew, Williams, Considine, and Schneiders. So you've got 3 starters, 2 subs, a little bit of a more guard-oriented lineup than we've seen all night, but probably pretty well matched. As Marquise Jackson steps back and hits. Once again, not a shot if I'm a North Park fan. I'm loving as it goes up, but I'm absolutely adoring as it goes through.
Oh, absolutely. As a coach, you're yelling, no, 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 yes, 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 when it goes in. So
Cruikshank continues to have trouble. Got into the paint, but had it turned away. And now Wheaton, who had been ice cold from 3, starting to heat up as that ball ends up in Schneider's hands, and he converts.
And it was great to see Schneiders hit that too, coming off the bench just to get that bench help, and coming in and knocking down a 3 right away was great.
Once again, that's Marquise Jackson, gets his own rebound as he shoots it long. Pumphrey skips it, back to Jackson, misses, I'm sorry, back to number 14, Preston Box, he misses. Oh, and a beautiful finish by TJ Askew as the Thunder got the rebound and pushed with aggression.
That's a great finish. You think that's a tougher shot again than you think. Just kind of, you're getting bodied up as you're going in, and you still finish it.
Once again, Steve, great defense by Considine. But a turnover as Cruikshank looked to outlet, and they are going to pay for it as Pumphrey, who's having one heck of a half, converts from downtown. Yeah, Pumphrey,
he really is. He had 7 points at half, but it seems like he's just kind of taken over. I think the ball's just been in his hands a little bit more the second half, but you're just seeing what he can do. Kind of all-around player, but right now he's especially with Colden out of the game right now, he's doing a great job kind of taking over for that loss.
Well, Coach Sean Smith and the Vikings have to be very happy with how these last 4 minutes have gone. If you'll recall, Steve, we saw Van Landingham leave the game at about the 16-minute mark, and North Park was up a couple. 4 minutes now have gone by. Van Landingham has been able to sit on the bench, not only rest, but conserve his fouls. Probably see him come back in, if not after this timeout, shortly thereafter. So the rest of the Vikings have done a really good job in the absence of their leading scorer, Van Landingham.
Yeah, and that's the thing as a coach, you don't want to rush your best player back in the game if you don't have to. So you're just hoping that your subs come in and the other guys pick it up a little bit so you can kind of stay on schedule for when you want to put them back in, not when you're forced to put them back in.
That's exactly right, as he does right on cue check back in the game. But there's nothing worse than pulling a guy out who's in foul trouble, watching the opponent go on a 10-0 run, and all of a sudden, to your point, you're forced back in, he picks up another quick foul, and then you're playing shorthanded for most of the rest of the ballgame. Schneiders, who's been playing well this second half, brings it across, kicks to Considine. Wheaton's got a little bit out of their good motion, and just as I say that, they get a good cut by Williams, and he scores. Boy, it didn't look like that was going to be there, and they found a little crease in the defense.
They did, and that's just a great finish. You can say what you want, but Andrew just finishes around the basket. Kind of had a mismatch. The other guy was taller, a little bit bigger. Andrew still finds a way to body him up and finish the basket.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, Carl Polk is 6'6" and a long, lanky 6'6". Williams goes 6'3", but he's got a really good knack of figuring out how to finish in traffic against bigger players. Uses his body well in that effort.
He does. See, Andrew just got that guy out of the game. There you go,
yep,
Andrew.
Polk will have a seat, and that's compliments of Andrew's finish in the painted area. And we get Jordan Boyd coming back in after several minutes of rest. And there he goes, finishing it. And Wheaton back up, too. A little bit of what I'd call early seesaw action taking place. We've now seen a couple lead changes here over the last 5-6 minutes. Pumphrey. Oh, and a good kick save there, as Jalen Boyd went back door and Askew spoiled it with some good footwork. Pumphrey now to inbound. Trying to bring Van Landingham off of a staggered screen. And Williams gets a hand on it. Now Van Landingham, oh, that could have called that. That was a little bit of an aggressive lean-in, Steve. But the shot's missed. Oh, and I think he walked.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the charge, but he definitely walked after that.
Yeah, let's see the replay here. Let's see. So there's one, there's two, there's three,
right,
and the finish. And what did we have? Looks like we had a.
They call a flop? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if they called a flop. It didn't look like there was anything technical worthy that took place. I don't like that call at all.
So if you flop, just don't give them the call, but don't call it technical. I mean, you just didn't get the call.
It wasn't blatant.
No.
And then, all right, so if he flopped, you need to stop the action because the flop led to a clear walk, which they gave him because the flop, and Chavella with a good look from downtown, unable to convert. Van Landingham gets the rebound. I just don't like the way that whole series transpired the last time North Park had the basketball. There's Pumphrey getting in. He's long on the hook. He spun back to his right, came just a little bit long. He continues to be aggressive. Williams crosses over and he's fouled. Pumphrey continues to be aggressive, not deferring at all to Van Landingham, and I think that's a really tough 1-2 punch right now for the Thunder to contend with.
Right. And Andrew's done a good job, too. And I know we've kind of said, hey, he does all the little things and scores underneath the basket and finishes. He's brought the ball up about the last 5 or 6 times, too, against a lot of pressure. So he's done a great job for us.
No, and that'll wear you down. Speaking as a guy who I think brought the ball up against traffic one time in my whole career, but that's tiring, and that takes it out of you, and it really hurts your ability to be effective in the flow of the half-court offense. And if you think about it, every shot we've seen Tyson miss tonight has been short. I don't know if we can attribute that to tiredness, but it has to be a little bit.
It really does. And back, I mean, I was way back in the day, but back playing against the North Park teams that were so good back in the 80s, I mean, I faced pressure the whole time. And it's not so much that you turned it over, or it's just that you had that pressure the whole game going against you, and you were constantly thinking about it, and you had to handle the ball.
Yeah, not only, right, so the point is not only physically fatiguing, but mentally as well.
Yes.
Here's Marquise Jackson, guarded by Schneiders. Good little roll there, but even better help. Looked like Jordan Boyd was going to have an easy look, and Chiavello came over to help. Looks like there was some knee knocking that took place. He's a little bit shaken up on the baseline. Really good help, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like he did anything major, but maybe a little bit of knee-on-knee action. Yeah,
like you said, a lot of guys came over to help. I think actually Chiavello was the guy who knocked it out of bounds. Great hands there, so hopefully he's not nicked up here too bad.
Looks all right. If that had been a twist or a sprain, probably not back into it, but nothing worse than a bone-on-bone collision. I think that's exactly what happened. Interesting. I thought he was going to call kind of riding him there on the defense, but the ball goes off of Jalen Boyd's knee, and the Thunder have a chance to extend their less than generous 1-point lead. Ill-advised pass by Schneiders. Thought he could find Considine. Jordan Boyd, I should say, stepped in front of it. And another step back. That's the second one of those Marquise Jackson is hit. And just like that, North Park up. Just a 2 on that one. I thought he stepped back for 3. Just a 2. 52-51 is your score. Vikings on top of the Thunder as we approach the halfway point of the second half. Cruikshank still looking to get it going. Askew with a great drive and a beautiful finish. Really used that rim nicely to defend against the Jordan Boyd block attempt. Shower will take a timeout.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I think if he goes up with that, it might have got blocked if he went up front side here. But to use that rim and go backside, that was a great move right there. And, Mike, and you can attest to this. Coach Shower kind of has fouled. Coach Harris, you saw, he's called timeouts. And as coaches and as former players, you always go, hey, we just had momentum going. You're calling a timeout. But I'm telling you what, he's explained it to me. I'm not sure I understand it all the time, but it makes sense. And he wants to set the defense. He wants to set the tone. Hey, this is where we got to play defense. This is where we're going to win the game. We can't just come, hey, that was a great score, but we can't let them just come down and score again. It did nothing for us. So he always kind of sets the tone for defense where most coaches would, hey, we're on a roll. Let's keep it going. But it's really worked for Wheaton all these years.
It's funny that you point that out. I've played for Coach Harris. I coached under him for over a decade. And far and away, the thing I had to explain to people the most is why does he call those momentum-killing timeouts? But you're exactly right. You go in after a score, so you go in feeling good. You emphasize the importance of this defensive stop. And Wheaton has always been, for better or for worse, and mostly for better, a defensive-first kind of program. And frankly, it's hard to argue with the success they've had with those timeouts as part of the overall strategy.
Oh, it really is. I mean, I'm a fan of it, and I love when Mike does it. And again, I don't think people understand it all the time, but I am a total fan, and it's worked great.
Yeah, no, it's good, and it reinforces the importance of defense. You're playing defense fresh, because the flip side of it is you come down, you get a great score, you're fatigued, you get beat in transition, and you nullify that. Now they've had a good start to the defensive series, almost forced a turnover, and we'll see if they can convert this or if what Steve and I have been saying is pure gibberish here for the last minute. This is the problem with a break game. You don't have the student facilities team to come in and clean up, so you had everybody there doing the old open gym, clean up the sweat with your shoe. That's why we had about a minute-long hiatus. Interesting pull. I didn't like that shot either from Jalen Boyd. He liked it. It's a 2, and they're back on top, 54-53. Here's Schneider. He's done a good job of handling it, other than that one turnover on the attempt to find Considine. He's done a good job bringing it up. Now Williams will set the offense. We got a little bit of a set coming here. Slip screen from Williams. Askew's done such a great job getting, and he ran into the railing there. But what a nice job he's done of getting into the paint. They really are respecting his three-point prowess. Probably giving him a little too much respect. He's a good three-point shooter, but given his proclivity to get to the hole, maybe you think they'd want to respect the drive a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
I think you're right. I mean, he is a good three-point shooter, and he's a tall guy, so he usually has mismatches out there on the three, so he gets wide open threes. But they're really doing North Park's closing out on him pretty fast, so it's a good job going to the basket.
One of our best foul shooters. In fact, of the folks who've got qualifying attempts on the Thunder, he's our best foul shooter at 80%. Did nothing to hurt that. In fact, only enhanced as he makes 2 of 2. And Wheaton back on top. Boy, I don't know that I necessarily wanted to see this close. I would have liked to have seen a 10, 15, 20-point blowout. But this has been a fun ball game so far, Steve.
Yeah, you look at it with 8 minutes left, it looks like it's one of those games that's going to go down to the wire. You just never know. Even if we get a little lead on them, they could come back, as we've seen already, 6, 8 points, they can get back in about a minute. So, you have to kind of look at it. It's going to go down to the wire.
Chiavello now dribbling into the paint, kicks it back out to Considine. He ball fakes, and he's in now. Oh, his pass goes off of Williams' face and fortuitously ends up in Chiavello's hands, and he finishes. So the old face pass, not one you draw up, but worked to perfection there. There's Jalen Boyd missing on the fadeaway. Schneider's rebounds. He's pressured by Jordan Boyd, and now double teamed, a little Boyd sandwich that he dribbles out of. To Askew, to Considine from downtown, and he converts. Oh, what a series. And we've got a stoppage in play here. Interesting to see what the call was. I think we've got some sort of a technical, or maybe a.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but offensively, that was a great job attacking the paint, getting it in the paint, and then kicking it out for the open three.
That's everything you'd want to see in fast-paced offense. First of all, Schneider's did a really good job at dribbling out of the Boyd brothers double team. And once that broke up, there was a 5-on-3 scenario, which the point you made earlier in the game, when you get those, you've got to take advantage of them, A, quickly, but B, smartly. Wheaton did exactly that.
Exactly. Snyder's done a real good job coming off the bench here tonight.
Yeah,
he's knocked down a couple. He's playing good D, handling the ball. I think he's doing a good job.
No, he's been a guy who they've been high on since they got him, and it took him a little while to find rhythm. But with each passing game, you're seeing him, I think, feel a lot more at home, understand his role, understand the flow of the offense. And we're going to get an offensive foul. We're going to get an illegal screen by Jordan Boyd there, as Williams did a really good job. Yeah, that was the old lean in.
Yeah, he leaned in a little bit, and Andrew did a good job selling it too. So that's good.
Andrew sold it, and on kind of the recoil, somehow he managed to rough up Van Landingham's ear, which he's still playing with around midcourt. So Williams continues to be a spark plug in every phase of the game. Schneiders will bring it up against Marquise Jackson. Really like the way he's handling the ball. Backdoor cut Williams. He had his legs kind of taken out from under him. Ball's tipped away. And Wheaton's getting some good breaks on the bounces here these last few minutes.
I tell you what, I do like the play, though, going backdoor right away on the baseline, trying to take advantage of them overplaying everything on defense. See what they get here off this set coming out.
They're looking to get a quick one for Askew. It wasn't there. And now they'll set up the offense. Looks like they're just in normal. Oh, what a wonderful cut. The cutting has been absolutely exquisite. I think North Park's defense allows for a little bit of that, but Wheaton has capitalized in almost every opportunity.
They really have. I mean, it's like you said, they move the ball quick and they got to cut. They got to mismatch just because North Park is switching quite a bit, so they had to mismatch inside. But again, it was the timing of the cut and the pass that made that work.
And while we were fawning over the offense, Pumphrey drove the length of the court, missed the shot, but Adam Bola was there to try to clean it up and was fouled, so he'll go to line and shoot two.
Tell you what, North Park, they've gotten some decent shots, but they haven't really moved the ball as well as they were earlier in the half.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are kind of just taking it off the dribble right off the bat with not much movement, so they're forcing a few things for us right now.
Well, and when, you know, when you had Pumphrey and you had Jackson hitting on those step backs, you know, at the midway point, the 5-minute mark of the second half. That's great. You know, they're scoring, it's demoralizing, but when you start missing those and you miss them quickly, you've not made Wheaton play any defense. You've not taken any spring out of their step. And I don't think it's any coincidence that Wheaton's offense has improved the less North Park has made them work on the defensive end.
Exactly right.
So Wheaton in their motion. Let's see what they find here. They're looking to dump it into Constantine. He's got a little bit of a mismatch with Nelson. He fakes beautifully under Jalen Boyd and scores. Really good job by Wheaton there, recognizing where the mismatch was and taking advantage.
Tell you what, we're getting some great sets, great movement in our half-court offense here the last couple minutes.
There's Marquise Jackson going to the rim. He's long, but stays with it. Misses the putback attempt. And I think I was visualizing the push because he just pushed. And we're going to go to the line. We're in the double bonus. So just like that, and as you so sagely prophesied early in the half, we're going to see a lot of foul shooting these last 6.5 minutes. So with that, North Park takes a timeout. 6.5 come out of this timeout. We'll have, I'm not sure who's going to be shooting the foul shots, but they'll be on the line shooting too. Did you happen to see who that was?
You know, I'm not sure. I think the last 6 minutes and 31 seconds here, we just have to do a real. They're gonna amp up their pressure even more. So we have to do a real good job of just taking. We're in the double bonus already, so just do a real good job of taking care of the ball. Don't force anything. It's like you said, you still got to keep attacking, but you got to be smart and just keep going to the line. And on defense, hey, just don't give them the second chance shots. Make them take a tough shot and get the rebound.
Well, and your point is easier said than done, right? Because you can't sit here and say, let's take 25 seconds off the clock and let's see what we can get. But motion offense lends itself very well to staying aggressively patient, right? You run the offense, you make the right cuts, and when the right cut is there, you make the pass and you convert it. And if it's a kick out, you shoot the good three. But this will be a test of maturity. This is a big conference game for Wheaton. They've got to be poised and they've got to do the right things and down the stretch. And if they do that while maintaining the defensive intensity, I think we'll see a good result here.
Yep. And this is a team that's averaging 85 points a game.
Yeah.
So right now, you know, they're struggling a little bit because of our good defense. So you just got to keep that pressure on them in the half-court defense.
So Constantine hits both foul shots, extends the Wheaton lead to 9, 67-58. And there's Jalen Boyd from downtown. He's long, but a good rebound by Jackson over to Van Landingham. Van Landingham is short. Another rebound. That's Pumphrey this time. And North Park sets again. Van Landingham into the paint, and you just can't give them 3 opportunities down there. They're too good offensively, and Van Landingham makes his pay. Cutting the lead to 7. So here's Schneider's bringing it back up, guarded by Van Landingham. Over to Constantine. Patient as Wheaton runs the offense. Oh, and a little bit of a wipeout. Van Landingham fell down. He took out Bulwa, and it led to an easy Wheaton chance.
And that's what we're talking about. You know, we were patient, but we still attacked the basket and got an easy one.
That's exactly right. So here's Jackson up to Pumphrey, top of the circle. Screened by Bulwa. Kicks it over to Jalen. Jalen pulls from 18 feet. That's a tough shot. That baseline jumper from the mid-range, not one you draw up, but he hits it well and cuts it to 7.
That's that lost art 15-foot baseline shot. That's really tough to hit.
Really tough to hit because it's not one you expect people to take. The defense, I think, lets their guard down a little bit over there. Chiavello corrals it, kicks to Schneider. Schneider's is up short on what was a good look. I don't think it was too quick. I think it was the shot they wanted. But North Park looking to cut into this 7-point lead. So we say that Williams checks in at the scorer's table. He'll be coming back. Good job by Schneider's getting a piece. But Jackson corrals. And North Park showing some good patience. I think Askew may have gotten a piece of that. We're going to find out. Nope, he didn't, or at least did a good acting job. But Boyd came up short. Ball caroms out of bounds, and the Thunder will corral. Here comes Williams, and Eddie Scott will take a breather.
I tell you what, that was a great defensive possession, Wes. A couple guys tried to drive, tried to get in the paint, tried to get an open shot, and we just played great defense.
Yeah, Wheaton's on-ball defense, which I wouldn't necessarily Wheaton is a good defensive team. I wouldn't say our on-ball defense is a hallmark of what makes us a good defense, but tonight I think they've done a really pretty admirable job in keeping them out of the paint and not creating situations where you have to overhelp. Askew baseline finds Williams.
There he is.
Oh, made a great move to get underneath Jordan Boyd and just came up a little bit long on that little short shot. Oh, Bola looking to flush it. Askew, I think, got a lot of clean ball. Let's take a look at the replay.
I'll tell you what, I think that was clean. We'll see it right here. What do you think, Nate? I think it looks pretty clean.
Clean as a whistle.
Yes.
But nonetheless, turns away Bola, who on his last trip to the line looked a little less than comfortable there. So you had three results there. The optimal one was going to be the block, which we think we got. The least optimal was going to be the dunk, and now we'll see what we get at the foul line. First one is good. Cruikshank coming back, replacing Schneiders, who had some really good minutes in relief there.
Schneiders did a good job there. They needed those minutes just to give Tyson a break, and now Tyson's back in, but Mike did a great job out there.
That one touches most points of the rim, but Bola converts them both, and it's cut back to a 5-point lead. Williams will bring it up to see if we can free up Cruikshank somewhere else in the offense. He's done a very good job of not forcing. Askew to Cruikshank in the corner, guarded by the much larger Jordan Boyd. Kicks to Askew. Askew comes in. That's a tough mid-range little floater. Comes up short and out of ways North Park with Pumphrey leading the break. He pulls it up, kicks to Jackson. Jackson looking to dump it in. Bola, who's been active here recently, turns, unable to convert. Wheaton crashes, and out ahead of the break is Askew. He's going to do well just to corral it, and that pass a little bit out of his reach. They turn it over on the break. That's probably a little bit what you're talking about on being aggressive but not hurrying.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there because he had the advantage on the fast break, so you want to get it to him. But it's just a tough one to get a turnover off that and not get the 2 points.
Under 3.5 to play. Wheaton 69-64. It's been a great game. It's been hotly contested. It's been a little bit of seesaw action here over the entirety of the second half after Wheaton led for most of the first. There's Pumphrey. Good job finding Jordan Boyd. Boyd throws it up, rolls it in and out. And there's Considine, who continues to be nose in the action defensively on the glass. He's going to get rewarded as he comes out of there with a foul. And he'll go to the foul line to shoot two. This double bonus, which North Park has now been in for the last 3 or 4 minutes, is proving very valuable to the Thunder.
Yeah, it really is. And just Eli getting in there and getting that rebound, not giving them. They had Jordan had that layup that he missed, but not to give them, they had 2 or 3 guys crashing the boards there too. Not to give them that second chance point was huge.
A little bit of a delay in the action here. Not sure what we're waiting for, but I'm sure none of the players, given the frenetic pace of this game, mind a little bit of a chance to catch a breath or two. Now Considine shoots the first, and it's nothing but net. Wheaton hits the 70-point mark. They've averaged 75.8 points a game, so they're very much on their average. But Steve, as you mentioned, North Park well under theirs. Got to keep in mind they did play Grinnell and score 123 points in a victory out there. So you could probably inflation adjust that to more of an 80-point average. But nonetheless, Wheaton's got to be very pleased with the effort. Considine converts them both, and back to the post-score Wheaton timeout. What's the message in this Wheaton Thunder huddle?
Right now, it's pretty much the same. I'm telling my guys right now, don't do anything. Don't go for steals. Don't go. Just play good, solid defense. Make them run their offense. They're probably going to make them make a tough shot, and don't give them that second shot. But again, play solid, nothing easy, and don't do any gambles right now. You don't need to gamble right now.
Yeah.
So don't gamble on anything right now. Just play solid defense.
Well, let's see how much of that was actually said, and let's see how much of that was actually applied as North Park inbounds as we cross under to play in the ball game. Glad you're joining us on this rather chilly, rather drizzly January night. This game has hopefully warmed you up and cheered up your spirits. As North Park looks to cut into the 7-point Thunder lead. Van Landingham a little bit ill-advised on that shot. And ball caroms out of bounds. The Thunder control. So a good series that not only ended in not a bucket, but took about 20 seconds off the clock. Not quite at the point in the game we were starting to think about the clock yet, but a couple of scores and another minute gone by. Wheaton will begin to get into some clock management, as will North Park. Andrew Williams bringing it up against Marquise Jackson. Wheaton into their motion. Considine has it in front of his own bench. Back up top to Chiavello. And now Cruikshank will set. He's going to get the flat screen from Chiavello, which he uses. That was a little bit of an over-adjustment. Been short most of the night. Long on that one, but there's Considine once again with a great rebound and a fresh shot clock for the Thunder.
And that was huge right there, just to get that rebound and get, now you got 20-some more seconds to.
And we're going to get the offensive foul. So it doesn't end up well for the Thunder, but they took over that ball with 2 minutes, 40 seconds. They run 40 seconds off the clock and ends with the Considine offensive foul. But, man, I like the way he plays. You've touched on a number of things he does well. He's come up with a couple of massive rebounds on both ends here in the last minute. So here's Marquise Jackson working against Williams, crossing him over, pulling back. That one looks like it's going to be short, and it is. Rebound, I think that's Jalen Brown. He misses long on his second chance attempt, and Cruikshank has it. Minute 40 left to play. Thunder up 7. Cruikshank taking time, not in any huge rush, and this is where you have to be not too passive because you can make mistakes. There's Chiavello, 10 seconds to shoot. Chiavello gets in, and that is a huge conversion. Exactly what you needed. Almost looked like they lulled North Park to sleep a little bit.
They really did, and he took it. I mean, it sounds like a simple drive to the basket, but he took his time and he went up strong and finished it. That was a tough three by North Park.
Oh, yeah, just as quickly. Shamar Pumphrey's had a really good game. Comes back, hits a tough three. So with a minute 12, North Park is going to take time out, set their press, and try to figure out how to cut into Wheaton's 6-point lead with a minute 12 left to play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've talked about the whole game. 6 points, you know, it's a great lead to have here with a minute 12 to go. But against a team like North Park, it can disappear very quickly. So, you know, you got to be careful. Again, you're probably going to get trapped here. They're probably going to do some kind of run and jump, try to get you to make a turnover. But once you get out of that trap, you have to still attack the basket. But you also have to be smart that if you don't have it, pull it back out and make them play deep.
Yeah, and you're going to see, you know, not necessarily only thinking about foul shooting here, but the Thunder have good foul shooters on the floor. You've got Cruikshank, who's a 75% foul shooter. You've got Askew, who's an 80% foul shooter. You've got Chiavello, who is probably the guy they'd want to foul at 62%. Andrew Williams, 78%, and he's going to go to the foul line. So they've decided to foul early. That's a strategy I like. You don't want to try to count on a 30-second possession always ending in a miss. I like the fouling beginning here if I'm a North Park fan.
Yeah, I think you're right. You want to make this game as long as you can make it, especially, and again, we keep saying this with a team like North Park. You could have probably 6, 7, 8 more possessions. You never know in this game, so you want to make it as long as you can.
And on the Wheaton side, you want to do exactly that as Williams calmly and very purely converts the 2 foul shots to get the lead back to 8. Here's Pumphrey. He's looking to pull. Pretty aggressively looking to pull. He kicks it over to Marquise Jackson, and it really just another nice piece of defense, really by the whole Thunder team, capped off by Williams almost knocking it off Marquise Jackson.
Our last 4 possessions, we've played great defense. Haven't given them a second chance. They haven't gotten inside that much on us. See what happens right here.
Dumps it into Jordan Boyd. Good move. Kept that pivot foot down and finishes in the paint. And a good play by Considine. He knew he was beat. No point in fouling there. You don't want to give them points without the clock running. And now they're into Cruikshank. They'll foul Cruikshank right away. And another pretty good foul shooter. Wheaton's a 72% foul shooting team. It's always been a hallmark of Wheaton teams, and it started way back in the Bill Harris era when you had to make 20 foul shots in a row to leave practice. I Actually lost about 25 pounds during that campaign because I was shooting along with Joel Grown well through dinner. But it established the fact that we're going to be a good foul shooting team because you're going to be in big games. If you're in big games, you got to be a good foul shooting team to win.
Right. And I think it's something you have to practice a lot, and it's something you have to talk about. You cannot not talk about it. You have to say, hey, we got to make free throws at the end of the games, and this is how we are going to win the close games.
Cruikshank converts. I could be mistaken, and we don't have the stats live right in front of us. Is that his first point of the night?
I think it is.
So he converts a big 1 of 2. Pumphrey comes back, and he's going to get fouled by Chiavello. That's a tough foul. I think it's a good call. It's tough to sit here and throw stones. That's a situation, though, where I think Pumphrey's going to have a real hard time converting that. He was moving diagonally through the lane away from the bucket, and if Chiavello doesn't foul, he's got a real hard time converting that.
The thing right now at this point of the game, you don't want to help that much, because if you help that much on the layup, you're giving up that open 3. So you really got to tell the guys, hey, you got to play good, solid defense. Don't give up that open 3. Don't leave your man that much. We'd rather give up the 2 than the wide open 3.
Yeah, you not only give up the open 3, you also give up a really good second chance opportunity. So both foul shots are converted. It's 5-point lead. Chiavello gets it out of his hands. He's the lowest percentage foul shooter on the floor for the Thunder.
Kick it.
They kick it out. I think they've got a foul here. They're being a little passive, but we've got a chance to take this down to about 15 seconds with the differential. Oh, Cruikshank almost turns it over, knocked out of bounds. 22 and a half seconds remaining on the game clock, 10 on the shot clock, so a differential at 12.5. I think North Park may regret not fouling early.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't foul right away and keep this game extended as long as they can. They probably felt like, hey, we can get a trap, maybe we can get an easy steal right here off a trap, then go make a 2 or a 3, and it's a 1-possession game. But a lot of time went off the clock there.
Well, I think there may have been a little bit of a lack of awareness, because early on in that inbound sequence, Chiavello ended up with the ball. He's Wheaton's worst foul shooter on the floor by a gap of about 12 or 13% from the next lowest foul shooter percentage. I think if they'd had it to do over again, probably when they watched that film, they would have liked to send him on the line. It would have saved 15 to 20 seconds, and it would have sent Wheaton's worst foul shooter on the floor to the foul line.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you wonder sometimes, just do they check on those things? Do they know he's the worst foul shooter? They probably do. But I think in their minds, they're thinking, hey, maybe we can get a quick steal here and go convert it, and then kind of worry about the fouling after that. And Wheaton's been hitting their foul shots here. So it'll
be interesting to see what they do. I mean, they either have to foul right away or absolutely get a stop and a rebound. Or get a, oh, yep, that's a backcourt violation. Oh, my goodness gracious. So all of our pontificating about the right thing to do is absolutely meaningless, because really good inbound pressure by North Park. That's a mistake you don't see this veteran Wheaton team. You take a timeout there.
Yeah, you don't want to take that. And it's more on the guy throwing the ball in. You have to wait till he kind of clears that backcourt.
No question. So here's Pumphrey getting to the lane. He misses on pretty good defense by Chiavello, and now they've got to foul. I don't know what they're waiting for. There's only 10 seconds left. Wheaton is going to run the clock out here. Wow, interesting. Wow. I'm not sure what happened there. It was a 2-possession game. 13 seconds left after that miss, but we'll take it. Really good ball game. Steve, you got to be happy if you're the Thunder, wrapping this one up with a bow.
I tell you what, we played a good game. This is a tough team. We said at the beginning of the game, this is a tough team that puts a lot of pressure on you. You just came back from a trip out east playing 2 games. You have to come play here tonight, and you're facing a team that you can't really simulate in practice.
No,
you can't put that type of pressure. You could try and put 6 guys out there and that type of thing. But the pressure that they put on us, I thought we handled it great tonight, and that was one of the keys to winning the game.
No, it really was. So Wheaton goes to 3-1 with the victory in the conference, 11-3 overall, and Coach Schauer walking over, looking absolutely no worse for the wear after a hard-fought battle. And we'll get him the mic, and we'll put him on the spot here. Coach, that was a heck of a game. Little different vintage North Park team than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, they're great. I think Coach Smith, their new young head coach, he's a great person. I've really enjoyed getting to know him. He's a great coach. I think they have 9 transfers, Nate.
Yeah.
And what I'm really impressed with is the two Boyd brothers who have been there for a while are really providing great leadership. They're just really good. You know, Nate, you know this, there's basically two ways to win. You can either be more efficient in a similar number of possessions, or you can create more opportunities. And so I don't know what the possessions ended up being tonight, but our goal was to make sure they were even, and I felt they were even. We were probably going to get a little bit better of it tonight. We just struggled. You know, we got down 6. Tyson had his 3rd foul. You know, that's a tough decision with 18 and a half minutes to go. And we just decided to let it go because it was going to be tough for us to play that long. But I will say this, when I finally put him on the bench, you know, I had to put him on the bench with 4 fouls with whatever it was, 8 minutes. That's actually when we took control of the lead. And what's interesting there, Nate, is so much of their scout was geared to what to do when he had the ball. Yep. And I thought we actually got some stuff done when he wasn't on the floor because there wasn't the scout. It wasn't available to him.
It was great. So, you know, we don't have the actual stats here, but I think he had ended up with 1 point. Yeah. If I told you pregame he was going to have 1, you betting on you guys to win this?
No, it's a really, you know, Nate, we're pretty good. You know, and you know me well enough that I don't say that very quickly or very often, but he's a phenomenal leader and never gets really rattled, even though he doesn't score. But we have a lot of versatile pieces. And, you know, I thought we looked a little disheveled for much of tonight. A lot of that's them, right? It's just kind of the way the game is going to be with North Park. They create chaos. I thought the game was well officiated, but it's a tough game to officiate because there's so much contact on both sides. We're very physical. They try to steal the ball so much. You know, thrilled to get out of this one with a win because, to be honest, you lose this one, they go to 4-0 and you go to 2-2.
You're chasing.
You're chasing with 2 home losses. So now we're in a pretty good spot for a little while.
No, so the last question I'll ask you. Offensively, it feels like you guys are starting to come together. We were really impressed by the number of curls, the number of slip screens. Not only that your cutters were making, but that your passers were seeing. It feels like you guys are coming together.
Yeah, you know, we've worked really hard. Like I said, we've got really versatile players, and you know these names, right? So we have our Johns cut, which is after Andrew. But we also have a Wallace cut, which you may not like that memory. And we have a Panner cut, which is after Ben. And all of those are best used against teams who switch.
Yeah.
Because you bring out a screen and you just do a different cut, and I thought we did that pretty well. I thought Micah got a couple big ones. I thought Andrew Williams was really good tonight, finding us some offense. He's just, you know, he doesn't look like he should be able to contribute in a game like this, but he really does.
He's great.
So the biggest thing I want to say about tonight is what a tremendous upgrade to your partner.
Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you soon. So the Thunder stay very much in the thick of the CCIW race. They've got to go to Milliken. Milliken off to a little bit of a rough start, but driving down to Decatur, never easy. Steve, wrap it up for us. What are your thoughts at this point in the season? 3-1, right in the hunt. How you feeling if you're the Wheaton team?
I think Mike hit it right on the spot. I mean, this is a big win tonight. You know, North Park, no, they're upcoming. They got a lot of energy. They got a lot of confidence going, and to beat them, and again, Tyson didn't play the greatest game, but you could just hear the way Coach Schauer talked about his leadership and everything else, and the other stepping up. It really made this a great win tonight. You just can't go, well, it's North Park. No, this was a great win tonight and got us back in the race. And again, like you said, going to Milliken is never easy. It's a long bus ride. No one likes it. Milliken's gym is terrible. It's dark. So it's always a tough place to play. So this was a good win going into that game.
Looking ahead, you go to Milliken, which is tough. North Central, where we've always struggled. They're a little bit down this year. But if you can win those 2 games, you come back here a week from Saturday on the 14th. Carthage, who's sitting high atop. We'll see where they're at a week from now, but sitting high atop the league could be an unbelievable showdown here in King Arena. So hope to see everybody then. Until then, thanks to my partner, Steve Tunn. Thanks for tuning in. So long, everybody. We'll see you next time on Wheaton Thunder Basketball.